My phone lit up at 4:47 a.m., the vibration jolting me awake in the dim Seattle bedroom. An unknown number. Skip the board meeting today.
Stay home.
It's Rachel, your old mentor. They set you up. Heart pounding, I sat up, staring at the screen. Rachel had vanished from the company 6 months ago after clashing with upper management, her emails bouncing ever since. Why now? In the dead of night. A knot formed in my stomach as I typed back, demanding details, but the line went dead. By midday, I'd uncover how my husband, Tom, and my closest colleague, Sarah, had woven a web of lies to strip me of everything: my career, my trust, my sense of self. I couldn't shake the message as dawn broke, the city skyline gray through the window. Tom stirred beside me, mumbling about the big presentation at Vanguard Tech, where we'd built our lives together over 5 years of marriage. He'd pushed me to lead the quarterly review, insisting it would secure my promotion to director. But his tone had shifted lately. Conversations cut short, his phone angled away when I entered the room. Sarah, my right hand in the marketing division, had been distant too, canceling our strategy sessions with flimsy reasons about deadlines. Doubt crept in. I'd noticed discrepancies in the project files last week, numbers not adding up, but I dismissed them as errors. By 7 a.m., I texted Rachel again, no reply. Tom's alarm buzzed, and he rolled over, suggesting we grab coffee before I headed out. I nodded, forcing a smile, but inside, unease coiled tighter. At the kitchen counter, he mentioned Sarah joining the meeting early to prep slides, her enthusiasm for the role almost too eager. It stung. She'd been my protégé, someone I'd mentored through her first big campaign. Now, whispers in the office hinted at her angling for my spot, but I pushed the thought aside. Loyalty, like ours, didn't fracture overnight. As Tom left for his own shift in finance, I lingered, pulling up the shared drive on my laptop. The presentation files loaded slowly, and there, alterations to the budget projections, timestamps from late nights I hadn't worked. My pulse quickened. These changes inflated risks, painting the division as unstable. Had someone tampered? I cross-checked emails, Sarah's approvals routed through Tom's department, bypassing standard checks. Coincidence? The room felt smaller, air thicker with unspoken questions. 9 a.m. brought the first call from HR, voice clipped, asking if I'd reviewed the latest compliance forms. I assured them I had, but the inquiry felt probing, like they anticipated issues. Then Sarah texted, running ahead to the office.
See you soon?
Her casualness clashed with the knot in my gut. I paced, weighing options: go in and confront, or heed the warning. Rachel's words echoed. They set you up. What if attending meant walking into a trap? Tension mounted as notifications piled up. Team chat buzzing with last-minute tweaks. All from Sarah. Tom's quick check-in call followed, urging me to hurry, his concerns sounding rehearsed. I ended it abruptly, diving deeper into the files. Hidden metadata revealed more, deleted drafts restoring to show fabricated client complaints dated to my login sessions. Anger flickered, mixed with confusion. Tom had access to my credentials, shared for convenience during busy seasons. Had he used them without asking? By 10:30, isolation pressed in. No one knew about the text. Admitting doubt now risked seeming paranoid. I forwarded the anomalies to my personal email, heart racing at each save. The office loomed in my mind, a hub of collaboration turned potential battlefield. Sarah's last message arrived. Bored as eager. Don't be late. It read like a taunt. I deleted it, resolve hardening. Staying put meant defying the pull, but the silence amplified every creak, every unanswered ping. Noon approached, shadows lengthening across the floor. My phone rang, unknown caller. I answered, breath held. A distorted voice confirmed Rachel's alert. Audit starts at the meeting. Your name's on the fraud reports.
Click.
Shock froze me. Fraud? We'd built Vanguard on transparency, Tom and I dreaming of equity stakes together. Now, pieces aligned cruelly. Their late dinners excused as work, Sarah's sudden closeness to him at company events. Betrayal simmered, not loud but insistent, eroding the foundation I'd trusted. I sank onto the couch, mind reeling through memories. Tom proposing amid project deadlines, Sarah toasting our successes. All tainted now. The warning had saved me from attending, but isolation bred questions. How deep did this go? Did they expect me there to sign off on their scheme? Resolve stirred amid the hurt. I wouldn't crumble. Instead, I'd dig, uncover the rot before it consumed me. The days stretched ahead, charged with uncertainty, each minute pulling me closer to the truth they wanted buried. The call ended abruptly, leaving silence that pressed against my ears like a held breath. I set the phone down carefully, hands trembling as I reopened the laptop. Fraud reports, my name attached to them, headlines already circulating on industry sites. Vanguard tech stock dipped in pre-market trading, whispers of embezzlement rippling through financial news. My stomach churned. The quarterly review wasn't just a presentation. It was the launch pad for their trap. I pulled up the internal audit portal, credentials still active despite the suspension notice flickering in my inbox. Logs unspooled, unauthorized transfers from client escrow accounts, routed through shell vendors I'd never heard of. Timestamps aligned with my scheduled logins, but deeper dives revealed overrides, Tom's admin privileges layered over mine, masking his entries. Sarah's digital signature appeared on approval chains, greenlighting the diversions to offshore holdings. The scale hit me, over $2 million siphoned, enough to crater the division if exposed during the meeting. Shock rooted me, breath shallow as memories resurfaced unbidden. Tom and I had met at Vanguard's orientation 5 years back, bonding over late-night code reviews and shared ambitions for equity in the company. He'd proposed during a team retreat, rings simple but promise-laden. We'd build something lasting together. Sarah joined a year later, fresh from grad school, her ideas sharpening our campaigns until she became indispensable. We'd celebrated promotions as a trio, toasts to loyalty that now tasted bitter. A new alert pinged, board email to all staff, suspending operations in marketing pending investigation. My role named lead suspect, evidence cited as irrefutable, forged receipts in my name, client complaints backdated to my emails. HR followed with a summons for questioning, tone implying guilt before proof. Isolation deepened, colleagues' group chat exploded with accusations, threads dissecting my sudden absence as flight. No one reached out personally, trust eroded in pixels and speculation. I forwarded the logs to a secure drive, fingers numb. Rachel's warning replayed. They set you up.
But why?
Scrolling news feeds, a pattern emerged. Anonymous tips to regulators filed yesterday, time to the meeting. Tom and Sarah stood to gain most. With me out, they'd consolidate control, my 15% shares diluted in the fallout, ripe for buyout at fire sale prices. Last month's argument flashed back, Tom pressing me to sell equity for our future, Sarah nodding along, eyes evasive. I'd refused, citing long-term vision. Now it clicked. Refusal triggered their pivot from persuasion to sabotage. Rage bubbled low, not a scream but a steady burn, fueling focus. I accessed archived chats, Sarah's messages to Tom, deleted but recoverable through backups, coordinating the transfers. One stood out, her suggesting the meeting as the perfect reveal, him replying with assurance about covering tracks. Intimacy laced their words, late-night plans beyond work, dinners I thought were solo over time. Betrayal layered deeper. Not just professional theft, but personal erosion. They'd turned our shared dreams against me, positioning themselves as saviors in the chaos they'd engineered. By 1 p.m., police scanner apps buzzed with activity near Vanguard's campus. Routine inquiry, but the timing screamed escalation. A voicemail from Tom arrived, voice strained, urging me to come in and explain. He implied cooperation would mitigate damage, his concerns scripted to lure. I deleted it without response, the act severing a thread. Sarah's call followed, pleading for a quick talk, but I let it ring out, her persistence confirming complicity. Mind raced through implications. Arrest loomed if I surfaced, reputation shredded before trial. But staying hidden bought time. I compiled a timeline, every anomaly cross-referenced with server pings, building a counter-narrative. Pain twisted sharper. Tom's touches, once comforting, now felt calculated. Sarah's laughter a mask for ambition. They'd humiliated me not with fists, but with precision, stripping agency in boardrooms and bedrooms alike. Resolve hardened amid the wreckage. No breakdown, just cold clarity. Expose them methodically. Let evidence dismantle their facade. I drafted an outline for regulators, anonymous submission ready. Tension coiled as afternoon waned. Another call from an unknown number, Rachel's voice distorted, briefing on escape routes if needed. She hinted at her own ousting, tied to overhearing their plot months ago. Gratitude mixed with fury, one ally in a sea of deception. As shadows lengthened, notifications surged, Vanguard's PR scrambling, stock plummeting further. Colleagues distanced themselves online, unfollowing in digital exile. The weight pressed, but it forged something unyielding. Betrayal had cracked my world, but in the shards, I saw paths forward. Not victimhood, but reclamation. They'd aimed to bury me. Instead, I'd unearth their graves. Evening settled in as I locked the apartment door, double-checking the chain for the first time in years. No more passive waiting. The revelation demanded action, precise and untraceable. I cleared browser history and switched to a VPN, accessing Vanguard's external compliance portal through a back-channel Rachel had mentioned in her brief call, her way of looping me in without direct exposure. The portal required multi-factor authentication, but my old device code still worked, granting entry to archived financials. Tension built with each layer peeled back, every click a step deeper into their scheme. I started with the transfer logs, exporting them to an encrypted thumb drive. Patterns emerged quickly. Funds funneled through 3 shell companies, all registered under nominees linked to Sarah's alma mater contacts. Tom's fingerprints showed in the routing, IP addresses from his home office during hours I'd been out of town for client trips. Indirectly, their communications surfaced in metadata, emails flagged for deletion but recoverable, discussing shared dilution post-scandal. They timed it to the board meeting, expecting my signature on revised budgets to seal the fraud as mine. The intent clarified, not just theft, but erasure of my stake, forcing a distressed sale they'd snap up. Pain resurfaced in waves, sharper now amid the data. Tom had handled our joint finances, access I'd granted out of partnership trust. Sarah, once confiding career fears over coffee, had twisted that vulnerability into alliance against me. Their motive boiled down to ambition. With me sidelined, they'd pitch a restructuring plan, positioning themselves as interim leads with my equity absorbed. Last quarter's performance review echoed, Tom praising Sarah's initiative while downplaying my contributions, a subtle shift I'd overlooked. Now it read as prelude. By 8 p.m., I mapped the connections on a notepad, timelines cross-referenced with calendar invites, proving overrides during my log sessions. No hysteria gripped me. Instead, a clinical focus took hold, channeling hurt into strategy. Confrontation risked backlash. They'd paint me as vengeful, twisting evidence further. Better to go anonymous, leveraging whistleblower channels built into SEC guidelines. Rachel's tip proved vital. Vanguard's ethics hotline routed reports to external auditors, shielding submitters under federal protections. I drafted the core document, bulleting discrepancies, $2.3 million diverted, false entries timestamped to my ID, beneficiary trails leading to personal accounts. Attachments included screenshots and logs, redacted to avoid traceability. Indirect speech captured their intent from recovered chats, plans to neutralize the obstacle during the meeting. Code for framing me. Tension escalated as I cross-verified with public records, shell firms tied to a real estate venture Tom had casually mentioned investing in. Their greed extended beyond Vanguard, a side hustle built on corporate theft. Isolation amplified the stakes, a knock echoed. Delivery guy with takeout I'd ordered to maintain normalcy, but paranoia spiked, wondering if surveillance watched. I paid cash, retreating quickly. Mind raced to contingencies. If the report triggered internal probes, they'd scramble, deleting more trails. I backed up everything to a cloud service under a pseudonym, setting auto-deletes if accessed wrong. Resolve deepened, cold and unyielding. Justice meant proportionality, mirroring their deceit with documented truth. 10 p.m. brought a secure message from Rachel. She'd fled after similar suspicions, now consulting on fraud cases. She advised layering submissions, SEC first for federal oversight, then company board to force audits. Her guidance sharpened my plan, file overnight, timing it post-market close to maximize disruption without immediate retaliation. Anger simmered beneath, fueling precision. They'd humiliated me through whispers and wires, so I'd dismantle them the same way. As midnight neared, I reviewed the final package, concise, evidence-heavy, demanding investigation into named parties. No demands for personal vindication, just exposure of the rot. The act of compiling it transformed the chaos, from shattered trust to controlled narrative. They'd underestimated my access, my persistence. Tension peaked in the quiet hours, each keystroke building toward release. By dawn, the submission would launch, shifting power back, not through rage, but revelation. Sleep evaded me, mind simulating outcomes. Tom might deny involvement, claiming hacks. Sarah could deflect to underlings. But the logs irrefuted their hands. Inner strength solidified amid the hurt. Betrayal had stripped illusions, revealing capacity for calculated response. No longer the overlooked partner, I'd become the unseen force redirecting their fall. The clock ticked past 1 a.m., city hum faint outside. I hit preview on the form, heart steady. This wasn't revenge. It was reckoning, ensuring consequences matched their crime. Clarity prevailed, a quiet armor against the storm ahead. Dawn broke with a submission sent, the encrypted packet vanishing into SEC servers at 3:17 a.m. No immediate confirmation, just a generic acknowledgement code, standard protocol to maintain anonymity. I powered down the laptop, stashing the thumb drive in a hidden compartment of my bag, then waited. Tension hummed in the quiet hours, each passing minute amplifying anticipation. By 7 a.m., my inbox pinged with Vanguard alerts, emergency board session called, all marketing staff on lockdown. The plan had landed, ripples already forming. News feeds updated rapidly, industry blogs reporting an internal probe at Vanguard, sources citing anonymous tips on financial irregularities. Stock dipped 4% in opening trade, analysts speculating on executive misconduct. Indirectly, colleagues messaged in confusion, group chats fracturing as rumors spread. One from HR demanded my whereabouts, implying non-compliance worsened my status. I ignored them, monitoring from a secondary device. Rachel checked in via secure app, auditors activated, tracing the funds already. By 9 a.m., the first cracks appeared. Tom's department issued a memo suspending approvals, his name attached as interim overseer, ironic, given the logs pointing straight to him. Sarah's profile vanished from the company directory, a quiet purge signaling scrutiny. Tension escalated as live updates rolled in, SEC acknowledgement of the whistleblower filing, triggering mandatory disclosures. Vanguard's PR scrambled with a vague statement on routine compliance review, but leaks eroded it. Financial outlets naming potential embezzlement targets, my suspension reframed as protective leave. Mid-morning brought escalation. Police arrived at the office, per scanner reports, interviewing staff under oath. Tom's interview leaked via a junior analyst's anonymous post. He denied knowledge of the transfers, claiming system glitches. But auditors cross-referenced his IPs, exposing the overrides. Sarah followed, her responses evasive, insisting on delegated tasks, yet email chains contradicted her, showing direct coordination. Their alibis crumbled under forensic dives. Offshore accounts flagged, withdrawals timed to post-meeting projections they'd never reach. Fallout accelerated. By noon, the board convened virtually, minutes later leaked. Resolution to freeze executive assets, pending full audit. Tom's equity stake, tied to our joint plans, face liens, forcing asset sales to cover potential liabilities. Sarah's promotion evaporated, her role reverted to probationary, with termination whispers growing. Clients pulled contracts, citing trust erosion, tanking quarterly forecasts. Satisfaction stirred, measured and devoid of triumph. Their scheme mirrored back, professional ruin unfolding without my direct hand. Afternoon deepened the unraveling. Tom attempted contact, a barrage of texts pleading for explanation, implying he'd fix it if I cooperated. I blocked the number, the act finalizing severance. Sarah's voicemails begged context, hinting at misunderstandings, but I forwarded transcripts to the ethics line, adding to the pile. Regulators looped in federal investigators, timelines compressing, initial findings due within 48 hours per fraud statutes. Their personal ventures suffered too. The real estate side hustle, funded by siphoned cash, drew IRS scrutiny, partnerships dissolving overnight. As evening fell, media amplified the story, headlines shifting from my accusation to their culpability, Evidence dumps anonymized but irrefutable. Colleagues recanted online, apologies indirect through reposts of corrective articles. Vanguard offered reinstatement talks, but I deferred, leveraging the momentum for independent review. The weight of betrayal lingered, but release came in watching consequences align. No violence, just systemic accountability stripping their power. Tension peaked then ebbed with a final SEC update, preliminary report validating the claims, naming Tom and Sarah in violations. Arrests loomed, not for me but them, on wire fraud counts. Inner calms settled amid the storms I'd orchestrated exposure, not destruction, earning respect through restraint. Their humiliation echoed mine, but mine transformed into leverage, theirs into isolation. By night, the apartment held steady quiet, notifications tapering. Rachel's message confirmed, "You're clear, they're contained." The plan's execution proved their underestimation fatal. Not to life, but legacy. Power reclaimed, not seized, left a hollow victory tempered by growth. Weeks blurred into a new rhythm after the indictments dropped, federal charges sticking to Tom and Sarah like the evidence I'd unearthed. No dramatic courtroom scenes, just procedural filings confirming wire fraud and securities violations, their bail set high to curb flight risks. Vanguard's board issued a public retraction, clearing my name in a terse press release, and offered a settlement. Back pay plus equity restoration, no strings attached. I accepted remotely, the wire transfer hitting my account days later, a quiet financial reset without fanfare. Colleagues trickled in with indirect apologies via LinkedIn connections, acknowledging the turnaround without expecting forgiveness. Tom's attempts at contact ceased after the restraining order, his voicemails from earlier weeks deleted unread, pleas shifting from denial to desperation, implying shared fault to soften blows. Sarah faded from mutual circles, her profile scrubbed clean, rumors placing her in entry-level gigs far from tech hubs. No direct confrontations, their fallout self-inflicted, professional networks closing ranks against the tainted. Satisfaction registered faintly, not as elation but validation. Their scheme collapsed under its own weight, my role reduced to catalyst. By month's end, I relocated temporarily to a Portland consultancy, leveraging whistleblower protections under Dodd-Frank to shield against retaliation. The law's safeguards kicked in seamlessly, anonymous status upheld, employers barred from blacklisting, even potential rewards pending SEC review for the sanctions imposed. Rachel connected me with a network of similar survivors, their stories echoing mine. Corporate ladders climbed on backs, toppled by truth. Conversations stayed brief, focused on strategies, her indirect advice steering me toward freelance audits where trust rebuilt on my terms. Hurt lingered in quiet moments, a dull ache from Tom's betrayal slicing deepest. 5 years of merged lives unraveled by greed. Nights once filled with joint planning now held solo reflections, dissecting how I'd missed the signs, his evasive finances, Sarah's probing questions on my shares. Therapy sessions unpacked it, not as weakness but growth, transforming confusion into boundaries. Anger cooled to resolve, fueling decisions like updating passwords and diversifying investments, ensuring no single point of vulnerability. Vanguard's internal reforms followed, mandatory ethics training cited in compliance updates, a nod to the scandal, without naming sources. My reinstatement offer evolved into advisory role, flexible hours allowing space to heal. I declined full return, opting for independence. New clients approached through referrals, valuing the whistleblower's insight. Strength emerged unbidden, not triumphant but steady, each negotiation a reclaiming of agency. 2 months post-submission, the SEC notified a reward allocation, 15% of recovered funds, deposited without ceremony. It funded a fresh start, small apartment in Seattle's outskirts, savings bolstered for stability. No victory lap. Instead, a walk along the waterfront, mind clear of what-ifs. Betrayal had fractured illusions, but piecing them revealed resilience, trust selective now, partnerships vetted. Rachel's final check-in confirmed case closure, Tom facing 5 years, Sarah cooperating for reduced sentence. Their consequences aligned with the crime, no excess demanded. Inner peace settled, a quiet force replacing turmoil. I'd endured not despite the pain, but through it, emerging defined by choices, not scars. Free in the truest sense, steps forward carried certainty. Stories like mine didn't end in ruin, but renewal.